people is catching hell. Black people who entertainers won't speak for.
That's
all
right.
Those entertainers coming here. Don't none of them really get on no television and give up every quarter to say something that's against white people,
right.
the government. All those entertainers, not getting on them, but I'm saying I have to lead the way. I have to be. Now, God has made me bigger than all entertainers in America. God has made me bigger than all entertainers in the world. God has made me bigger than all athletes in the world. Now it's my job to whoop this man, get my title, so I can use it to help uplift the black man in America. That's why I go in the ring, with this intention.
Schisms that fucked up by living, you know I just be cool and it. Oh, all these isms and schisms that fucked up by living, you know I just be cool and oh, all these isms and schisms that fucked up by living, you know I just be cool and fuck a perfect picture, I just need a line to explain all these visions that's been shown in my mind. My own feelings that is like not mine. I wasn't built for mediocrity, bitch, I'm divine. Mr. Savage, I'm savage and I'm down for mine. Cut the mob and I'm golden and I can't help but shine. Can't lie, going through hell where all the demons dwell. What police kill, black man never seen jail cell. Black man misdemeanor, he can't afford bail. He got 30 days off his job, typical hell. Felonies for a little weed. They don't care about the time, them laws are seeded. Sick of kids robbing people without a pocket pissing. Young fucks killing like killers because they have no diction. How in the hell could they see from
poetic soliloquy. I just want to speak my mind. If that were possible.
What up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of Savage Talk with your host, Savage Soliloquy. I am here, injured, but I'm still here. Today, we have a deep convo at hand. The subject is the black image. You know, I was thinking about this because I'm actually brought up one of my old writings. This is an old essay I did in college, and I was reworking it into a book, into a new book. And it's about the image. It's more about the image of black people on film and television, but it covers a lot. It covers a lot. The image of black people. You know what I'm saying? I say black people because, you know, we have all types of terms. Some people prefer Nubian, black. I mean, some Negro. I don't, you know, there's a lot of names. I go by the Nubian. You know what I'm saying? Tag. You know, I don't have a problem with black. You know, the Egyptians and the people of Kush and Kemet, they used the term black, but it wasn't. Of course, it wasn't English, but the image of our people honoring black, just the color black is an ancient idea. The image that represented Kush, Kemet, ancient Egypt, was a piece of burnt wood. You know, it was just meant the land of the blacks. You know, the land of black. You know, a lot of people got a little different interpretations of that. You know, a lot of people say, you know, it's because the people was representing like we black, and some people say it was because some of the sand was black in some of the capital city, and other people, it's like all types of different explanations. But we know as long as we can remember, we've been calling ourselves black. You know. The white people also been calling us black for a very long time. They used to have words like the people with face of charcoal and face of coal and all that, you know, but it was always this imagery of blackness with, you know, the native people. And, you know, everybody's skin wasn't all the way black, you know. I mean, like real dark, you know, ain't nobody's skin black. But you know, we got people who got the dark tones, and you know, maybe them was the first people, you know, of all people, because you know, like it seems like you can't get darker. Like as your generations go, you can't get darker, but you can get lighter. But you know, it's hard to get people to get darker, you know. So that tells me like the people with that thick dark melanin, them like that's something ancient, you know. That's something ancient. Um, let's see. Talk about the image of black people, man. First we're gonna start off with like, whew, this is a hard one, man. Like this has been one of my main studies for a while, you know, as far as media. You know, I've always had to focus on black media. Some of the first media that ever came out as far as television. Well, let's we're not even gonna go to television yet. I'm gonna speed through it, you know. I ain't gonna speed through it, but you know, I ain't gonna keep y'all here forever. But since like the transatlantic slave trade and you know the Berlin Conference, where the European countries divided the African continent into European powers, you know, they would use newspapers, you know, use newspapers and books, and they would throw this imagery out. It was propaganda. We talked about propaganda on the last episode, but it would be this imagery that they would use to control the people. Like, and anybody they didn't like, it would be like some goofy drawings. They would get like some of their best artists and all that. Be these, and you know, we still see them in you know, little comic strips and all that. But they do the little goofy caricatures of the people they don't like. Then, you know, they do the drawings of them. They, you know, powerful and, you know, prestigious. And the thing is, it works. Like, it works as far as manipulating people into creating an image in their mind. And the thing about human beings and psychology is that if you give people pieces, excuse me, if you give people pieces of an image, like our minds will complete that image. You know what I'm saying? Our imaginations will complete that image. So all they would do is get these bad images of people, and then it's like, okay, people creating all types of stories with them. This is what happened with the black image, you know. During this, like, they will put like the pictures of black people as like animalistic. They will make black people look more animal. The Africans and the, you know, the natives in over here in the United States, they will make them look more animal than, you know, human. And it was even in their books that people of color were considered fauna. And if you don't know what fauna is like the grazing wildlife and the bushes. Yeah, like we were considered like the bushes and the deers, you know, like just part of the land, you know, not really human, but just part of the land. So this is how they depicted us in all their imagery. And this was mainly all the European countries. It became a popular thing, you know. This was the top media. The negative images of black people, this was the top media all across the world. I mean, I'm talking about like this before Hitler days. I'm talking about, man. I'm talking about, you know, World War I, way before all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would just have these fucked up images. They even had like it was all this literature out. It's this book called 10 Pickaninnies. You know, if you know, Pickaninny is basically a derogatory term, a coon character. If you don't know what the coons are, coons were a line of characters throughout media, throughout history, that they created to basically degrade black people. It was a degrading image of black people that they would use in their media. And to this day, the coon character is the number one character in all media throughout all history. There is no character bigger than than the coon character. Just imagine like the Avengers, how big the Avengers movies are now. That's basically how, like, matter of fact, it was bigger than that. Like, because it was like there was only certain amounts of media. So anybody who had access to media was seeing it, you know. So it painted this picture of black people, just craziness. So these newspapers, they would be worldwide, basically, in, well, you know, European worldwide. And as America was becoming a country, you know, America was basically being taken over by Europeans who were using these techniques. So they brought these techniques with them, and they will always draw these pictures of the natives. That's why, you know, I often argue with a lot of my other colleagues, a lot of my scholar colleagues about, you know, black people always being here in the United States, because some of the first images of the natives here in the United States all are black as you can get. They all look like you would confuse it for pictures of the African shores, and a lot of people do. A lot of, like, if you Google some of these pictures, like, people will have them labeled as African, like these the Africans, but it'll be a picture from the American shore, like in Christopher Columbus writings. How he talk about when he got here, like these, he just seen they called them Indians. And if you don't know, like, Indian is a term that comes from Africans, like what we call Africans now, like, because Africa was called the West Indies. Like the natives there were called Indians, you know, ancient days. So when in Christopher Columbus days, so when Columbus came here, he like, man, there's Indians everywhere. He like, what happened? I think, like, we weren't supposed to go, like, they thought they were lost because they thought they went south. Well, they were lost. They definitely were lost. They definitely were off course, but he thought he was in the West Indies. But so he called them Indians and all that, but he still claimed the land. And, you know, time went on. They were down closer to like Haiti and all that. But there's other writings, other paintings that you can look up, that there were some pretty dark people here in the first images of America, from first European images of America. A lot of the images, native images here, were cracked off the walls, and, you know, some of them the paint and all that then faded, so you can't really tell who they are. You know the European scholars tend to make all of them look like, you know, what we consider the modern Native Americans, the ones that kind of, you know, are more of a light breed, you know, and that a lot of them, they dismiss, you know, the darker natives because, you know, that would have other meanings, you know, because if we the natives here, then, you know, we got more stances in court, you know, and all that, to, you know, as far as reparations and all that, you know. Yes, sir. What's up? Love, cuz. These images, man, they did of us. But I was saying that, like, it all ties in right now with these images. Let's go past the newspaper and all that, and we go to these minstrel shows. If you don't know what a minstrel show is basically, they would have these. It would be like enslaved Africans and all this. They would have them come out and basically be a jester, you know what I'm saying, be a comedian, you know, come out there and, you know, basically make fun of themselves, you know, and eventually, you know, well, around the same time, it was a bit of a mixture. Like they would make the slaves make fun of themselves, and the Europeans themselves would put like pine tar on their face, like to blacken their face, get the big red lips, big white lips, and they would, you know, over exaggerate what they thought about, you know, black people, about the Africans, you know, and these characters, this coon characters became like I said, this is the biggest characters ever. Like Avengers has not surpassed, the coon character. Like the coon character was like popular over in Europe and popular over here in America throughout, written literature, throughout the newspapers. Once radio became a thing, it was on there. Once television came, oh my goodness, it was over. Once television came, it basically, they built Hollywood off the back of black people, mainly black children. Like I said, the first Thomas Edison. We all know who Thomas Edison. They throw it in our face all the time as the greatest inventor in American history, but really he was a crook. He had a school. Where he had a lot of where he would basically take his students' inventions and claim them as his own. Like even the light bulb, he didn't invent the light bulb. A black man invented the filament to create the light bulb. Latimer. Man, I'll be going off the top of my dome so much that I'll be forgetting names. But yeah, it's Latimer. Research the real guy who invented the light bulb. But this Edison, he basically created the patent, and the copyright, and the patent, and what this allowed the Europeans to do, they could take like all these inventions from their African servants and slaves, they could take them and then patent them under their own name. So now throughout history, you have all these inventions that were created by enslaved Africans and these creative ass black people, man, that they never get credit for because of this patent thing. And to this day, a lot of them patents stand, and a lot of the big corporations and companies that are out here right now are rich and big because of those patents, because of the stuff they stole from the black community. And it's a shame because like honestly, the black community built this country, and the whole time while they were building this country, it was just these images being put out that were just so demeaning about black people, like as we were being set free from slavery and all this. They had to make sure that we couldn't get anywhere. So it became this image of criminality, and there was literally no crime in these black neighborhoods. The only crime would be like when KKK or the white people would come and take and bash and loot and all this. And speaking of the KKK, there was a movie, like the power of the KKK can be traced back to a film. That's why I'm telling you the power of the image. The image is so powerful, and like the image that we portray means so much. It means so much. But there was a movie by D.W. Griffith called Birth of a Nation. Not the new Birth of a Nation with Nate Parker. That you notice when he put that movie out that all these old rape allegations popped out of nowhere and all that, because they knew that was a powerful movie. That was some powerful stuff to put on there. But he named it after this movie, Birth of a Nation. D.W. Griffith. This movie was so fucking disgusting. But it kind of like stands as the biggest movie in history. Like to this day, like the numbers, they squash the numbers and they try to like say like, the Avengers and Star Wars, all of the top movies. But that's because they got the box office numbers. No, like this Birth of a Nation, it had a presidential seal. Like, what was the I'm gonna get that quote from y'all, but the president basically said like this is basically like this movie represents America. You can watch this movie for free on YouTube, Birth of a Nation. It's on YouTube. You can watch it. You probably don't want to watch it, but you should, just to know where we stand. And like that this movie was the movie that empowered the Ku Klux Klan. Because before that, the Ku Klux Klan was just some local hillbillies that really ain't had no power. Like for real, some of them was getting their asses killed back in the day. Like if we go back into some old rebel stories, you know what I'm saying? But this movie became empowering. This movie, it was basically about the rise of the Ku Klux Klan. That's what the movie, the movie, it was based on a book called The Klansman. And they basically brought like all the money they did. It was the biggest budget movie ever. Like if you compare it to like dollar by dollar, you know, inflation and how the economy rises. If you do it dollar by dollar, it still was like they put more money in that than they put in like the Avengers. I'm gonna keep bringing Avengers because you know the Avengers is like the most expensive movie ever, and it's like the most selling movie ever, top grossing movie, modern movie. But and this is comparison that this movie was bigger than Avengers. You know what I'm saying? Like if you ain't an Avengers fan, you still know about Avengers, the movie, because it's the biggest movie ever. Like you know what I'm saying? All of them, like all three films, all four films. You know, the last two was basically one film extended. But all four films, they basically in the top 10 of all like the modern movies, and Star Wars is right with them. Then you got like Avatar and stuff like that, but they don't really count this because you know the dollar worth was a lot less. So you know the gross amount of money that it had, you know, it can be manipulated to not be the top movie. But and you know they don't want it to be the top movie in American history because it's the most racist movie ever, and it's the movie that helped the Ku Klux Klan get their power. And in this movie, they got the blackface, everything, and they're basically like every black character in there is basically a criminal, crook, a rapist, basically trying to destroy the democracy and all this. And then the hero comes out with the Ku Klux Klan hat and the horse, right? You know what I'm saying, riding to save the white people in distress. You know, I'm telling you, like. You probably don't want to watch it, but you probably need to watch it because it's American history. This is the biggest movie in American history, given a presidential approval by the president of the United States. And the thing is, it's also I went to film school. You know what I'm saying? That's why I made Cinema Central and all that. Like, because I went to film school. I went to Cleveland State University, their film program. And to this day, they still teach The Birth of the Nation as one of the greatest films ever because it was also the film that like introduced certain cuts and certain camera views and certain camera moves into film because it had the biggest budget ever. This was the big, like other people didn't have the ability to do the stuff that this movie did. You know what I'm saying? At this time. But mainly every movie after that, even movies to this day, study that film. I studied the film. I had to study the film, and from film school, I had to write reports on it. You know, I had an amazing professor that, you know what I'm saying, he always made sure that, you know, the truth was in there. Like he like, man, I hate to show y'all this film, but like it's history. And he like, especially for the black students, I hate to show this film, but like, you know, we don't need to hide from history. You know what I'm saying? We need to face history straight on. And a lot of people hide from history. That's why a lot of people argue with me on social media and all that, because they don't know their history. I know my history. And it is sick. I watched that movie, man. I actually watched it multiple times to write this shit. And it's traumatizing because a lot of people might look at it and laugh like, this is funny, haha. But it's not funny because you'll see lynching in there. You see the police beating motherfuckers. Like, it's the blueprint of how they treat us right now. This movie is the blueprint of how they fucking treat us right now. You know what I'm saying? And so if you want to know the blueprint of how they treat black people right now, look up the movie Birth of a Nation by D.W. Griffith. You can look at it on YouTube right now. Move on. Man, from 1840 to 1890, minstrel shows were the most popular form of entertainment in America. America's first TV star was Milton Berle. I know a lot of the older cats remember Milton Berle. I remember Milton Berle. Milton Berle, he was a star until like he was old. Like he was like 100 years old, still in movies and stuff. And this is America's first TV star, Milton Berle. He used blackface in a lot of his routines. So this lets you know the first TV star in America used blackface. I just want you to notice so we connect everything. We always connecting everything. The first TV star in America had blackface. The biggest character in American history is the coon character, who demeans black people. Y'all follow me? According to the old time radio catalog, there were blackface performances in America since 1769, when Lewis Hallam Jr. portrayed a drunken black man in the play The Padlock. By the early 1800s, the blackface clown was the most popular character. In 1822, the American minstrel show began to set as a movement that would become the most popular form of American entertainment. We're going to rush through some of this. And, you know, Englishman Charles Matthews became one of the most popular stars. Matthews created the popular one-man show that degraded the speech and actions of African Americans. And this would lead to, before. In 1828, Thomas Rice created the character Jim Crow. I know everybody heard of Jim Crow. Let me, I gotta get some of my water, y'all. I'm going off. You know, I just woke up and I'm going off. And I want to teach y'all a little bit about Jim Crow. The Jim Crow character was based off a disabled man from Kentucky. So he basically, it was a man who had a limp. You know what I'm saying? He had a messed up limp, and he was a little bit slow, so he had a little bit of a slurred speech. So this guy made a whole character off this guy, and this character like stuck around, became the most popular character at that time. You know, at all times, like that black character was always the most popular character. You know what I'm saying? Until a certain time in Hollywood where they kind of blocked the black characters off. But you know, that was only for a little bit of time. Black characters have always been the most popular characters in Hollywood history at all times. You know, they never been paid like it, but they were. All right. And, many minstrel performers claim that their productions were authentic accounts of Black Southern life, and their characters were based on real people. You know, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? But they say they basically were saying this Jim Crow stuff, these characters were authentic. You know what I'm saying? Oh, what's up? What's up? You know what I'm saying? All this old, like, they were saying like black people really talk like that for real. And if you compare that to like how a lot of white people portray black people now as like these criminals and all that, you know what I'm saying? They swear all black people criminals and all this. It's like they always, oh man, I remember back in the day, man. Matter of fact, let me bring it back. Have you ever had a conversation with a white person about racism? And then they tell you about some reverse racism shit, and they tell you about some guy Tyrone back in junior high and shit that bullied him or something, and it's like, okay, school bullying, yeah, okay. Everybody had a little bit of school bullying, but you know, it's basically becomes a downplay of the racism or a downplay of their actions. And it's basically what they would do, you know, like, no, these how black people is for real. Like, they lazy. They don't know how to talk, like, and think about it. Like, these were Africans. these were Africans like having to learn the language on the fly. It was basically like learn the language or die. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't like, and sometimes you didn't even learn the language because they just beat you and you see what the other person is doing, so you just follow it up. But they was making fun of this stuff that they were doing to black people. The Jim Crow character became so popular that the name became a synonym for a black man. So they were literally calling us, it was Jim Crow. Like this was a nickname for black people, Jim Crow. And oh man, Jim Crow was the name of it was also the name of the racial caste system in the South. You know, they had a kind of an unwritten set of laws that they had for black people. You know, like stuff like whistling at a white girl, looking at a white person, you know, drinking from the same fountain, sitting in the same seat. You couldn't walk past a white person. You know, you had to like stop, wait for them to go past, stuff like this. And if you broke these laws, you can wind up getting hung. You know what I'm saying? Hung, life in prison, just beat to where, you know, you crippled, and then they make a character after you. You know what I'm saying? Called it Jim Crow. Like this is what they were doing to our people. Man. Jim Crow. And a lot of people like think that it was just in the South. Jim Crow was not in the South, just not in the South. It was up here. It was in Ohio. It was in the North, New York, all that. You know what I'm saying? It was just a different form of it. And it was really at points there was like no safe havens. You know, you had a few that were safe havens for a while, you know, but eventually they would get burned down, or you know, they would be like I told you on one of the last streams about how Colin Powell said he wanted to contain the Middle East, contains Iraq. At first, that's what they were doing to black communities. They were containing black communities. You know, they were basically making sure no supplies or no resources could get in or out. So, you know, it basically would choke the black community into poverty. And, you know, once poverty came, that's when crime came. And then it's all from this image, man. Every aspect of American life, from academia, religion, and healthcare, were shaped by these oppressive laws, these Jim Crow laws. These laws legalize violence and lies to keep black people at the bottom of the social hierarchy. The Coon character is an anti-black caricature named after a raccoon. Yes. The character was a lazy fool and a loyal servant. The Coon was portrayed as a lazy, easily frightened, chronically idle, and inarticulate buffoon. I mess up the inarticulate buffoon. But basically, like, this was if you ever seen the Little Rascals, Buckwheat, like he was basically like he was a miniature coon. He was a little kid coon character. It was always the buck eyes, you know what I'm saying? Always like anything that happened scared, always extra teeth in the smile, you know what I'm saying? Just yes sir, just all them characteristics about it, you know what I'm saying? It was this was a specifically built character. I mean, these Europeans weren't no joke about this. They would hire psychologists to, you know what I'm saying, shape these characters as far as getting audience to, you know what I'm saying, buy into them. Like they weren't playing, man. Right, and then they like look they what was it, the Pickaninny? The Pickaninny was more like the little kid. That's the real name for like the kid coon character, the Pickaninny. And the Pickaninny, they was, oh my god, man, some of the images that I had to research, like, because it was a common thing, and this was like in many of the households across America, it would be these pictures of like black babies being fed to alligators. You know what I'm saying? They would call them gator food and all this stuff. Like, and this was like a common thing. Like, I don't know if y'all know about Norman Rockwell, like how in the 90s, a lot of households had at least one piece of art or something from Norman Rockwell in it. And right now it would be more like how people with the rolling trays got the Rick and Morty, like popular stuff that people just got all around their house, or like logos like the Browns or some stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like the sports teams and all that. It was basically just a logo that people had in their house of people feeding black babies to gators. Sick shit. Like shit that, you know what I'm saying? If you don't research it, you'll think this stuff never happened. And if you don't know your enemy, if you don't know where you at, you never gonna be able to, you know what I'm saying, navigate correctly through what's happening in politics and all of this. We talking about the black image throughout history. I'm trying to speed through. Believe me, I'm speeding through it. Like I'll keep y'all updated when I release my when I release my book, and y'all can dig in there, and it's gonna be some shit that you like, man, what the fuck? Like, but the Pickaninny was the dominant racial caricature of black children for most of this country's history. You know, the Little Rascals, bro. We had a Little Rascals movie when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. The character was a dirty, dim-witted child who was often bait for alligators. The Pickaninny was a child version of the famous coon, based on the character in Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe. Uncle Tom's Cabin is the second best-selling book in history, only second to the Bible. Yes. So this coon character comes from second most selling book in history next to the Bible, bro. Like, this ain't just insignificant stuff. This is very significant. The Pickaninny became a pipe icon during the 1850s and remained the mainstay of entertainment well into the 20th century. Imagine Michael Jackson status, but just a negative character, you know what I'm saying? Past Michael Jackson never got to the Pickaninny status, you know what I'm saying? And Michael Jackson was the greatest in our, you know what I'm saying, a lot of our lifetimes, but Michael Jackson was nowhere near the Pickaninny status, you know what I'm saying? The Pickaninny pretty much created Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? Children coon characters. Sambo was another vastly used stereotype and was based on the character from a book by Helen Bannerman called Little Black Sambo. Bannerman's book featured one of the most famous versions of the Pickaninny. The illustrations associated with this book were copied and adapted, which helped lead to a new genre of art that depicted blacks in a negative view. So they were creating whole new genres off of depictions of us. They still sell this book, Little Black Sambo. It's they changed the name of it. When I was a kid, they would have us reading this book, Little Black Sambo. It got a different name now though. I forget what name it's called now. And it Little Sambo, it was the little boy with the I think he had to grab the tiger's tail or something to get out of. It was him against a tiger. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. I actually think that one Indian movie is based off of this. The movie with him in the boat, the one dude in the boat with the tiger. I think this was like a different depiction of that shit. But yeah, Little Black Sambo. Even though Sambo was a more heroic Pickaninny character, the stereotypes portrayed were enhanced by the copycats. These new versions have more degrading imagery of the black children, and it was often a story set in the Old South in the depths of darkest Africa. And during the development of the film industry in Europe and America, black people were considered a sideshow for entertainment. The Negro sideshow became the most popular form of entertainment in both countries. In the early 1900s, European countries would raid villages and towns in Africa, sometimes slaughtering the majority of the community. The few that survived these raids were usually sold into slavery and used for entertainment. This brings us to Oda Banga. Oda Banga was an African pygmy who was put into a zoo in the which zoo was it? It was one of the New York zoos, I believe. No, it was he was putting the World Fair in the St. Louis in to a zoo. He was basically a zoo display. This was a black man putting a zoo display. And man, this happens in America. In the United States in 1904, Benga was used as an exhibit at the World State Fair in St. Louis. By 1906, after spending time as a display, this is a human being who spent time as a display in the Museum of Natural History. The same Museum of Natural History that is our top museum right now, that gets millions and billions of dollars in funding from the government. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, I wasn't even plugged up. We was about to die on our battery. Cause I'm just going off. But Oda Benga, man. Research Oda Benga, man. Don't just listen to me, man. Like, I'm not bullshitting you. Oda Benga was on a display in the Museum of Natural History. Benga was part of the regular exhibit at the Bronx Zoo in New York also. Benga was often caged with several different animals, mostly apes. Media outlets such as the Evening Post and the New York Times published stories stating that Benga was enjoying himself and that any thoughts of degradation was imagined. The Evening Post added to the stereotype of Africans as beasts of the wild by publishing that he could hold conversations with animals. Benga's captives eventually made him cap his culturally sharpened teeth and take on a Christian name, Otto Bingo. Benga killed himself in 1916. They did this man so dirty, and they were like telling the world that he was enjoying himself, and he eventually killed himself, you know, because they wouldn't let him go. They held him captive. They held him captive as a zoo animal, and he chose death rather than be a zoo animal. Most of it would do the same thing. But this was the image they were putting out. This is 1916, bro. 1916, bro. That's 100 years ago. That's not that many generations ago. Okay, let's keep it moving. I ain't gonna go through all of this, man, because it's a lot, man. Let's scoot up the film. While minstrel shows were a hit in most popular venues, a new technology was being formed that would help spread the negative image of the Negro even further. Film. In the early stages of film, blacks were either ignored completely or shown in an appalling way. Early silent movies such as The Wooing and Wedding of a Coon in 1904, The Slave in 1905, the Sambo series in 1909 to 1911. They made a whole bunch of those. And The Nigger in 1915 offered the existing stereotypes through an exciting new medium. One of these early characters, the coon, was a key part to the growth of film and television. In 1904, Thomas Alva proved to be a pioneer in the exploitation and exploration of this type when he presented 10 Pickaninnies. This is the one I was telling y'all about early. In 1904, a forerunner of the Hal Roach Our Gang series, you know what I'm saying? You know Our Gang, that's Little Rascals, showed a group of black children being referred to in derogatory terms. And it's basically, they just dancing and they just basically calling them niggas and pickaninnies and all this. And this was the precursor to the Little Rascals. You know how they do pilots for shows? That was the pilot for the Little Rascals, which was called Our Gang. The pilot was them making fun of black children. Y'all don't hear me though. In the 1920s, Hal Roach would create Our Gang from 1922 to 1944, which included several famous pickaninnies. The coon characters Farina and Buckwheat were prime examples of the humiliating status blacks had in some ways and still have today in American media. And if you don't know what farina and buckwheat is, them are grains. They named them after grains. Farina is a grain, and buckwheat is a grain. Like I said, they called us fauna. They considered us part of the land. You know that we weren't human. Farina, played by Alan Clayton Hoskins, held all the classical characteristics given to black characters at the time, and added gender vagueness. Now, gender vagueness, that's one of the topics that kind of get mushed nowadays, because we got the battle for equality with the LGBTQ community, and sometimes we don't address like some of the bad things they did to us, because I believe it offends some people in our community, in the LGBTQ community. But I still think we have to address this, like, because the gender vagueness was a thing to where they use gender vagueness to take away the humanity in black people. Like they will put little kids and sometimes adults, they will try to make them to where you couldn't tell them whether they were a man or a woman, because that would give some form of humanity to them. Like no, that's just a freaking plant. Like that's just part of the plant life. Plant, like they don't have a real gender, that they're not human. You know what I'm saying? That's not a man or a woman. That's just a between them. You know what I'm saying? And I know, I want to have some discussions about like the homosexual gender coon characters. There are some homosexual coon characters, and I believe some of them coon characters have leaked into our society. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think we need black scholars to dig in on that, and we need like some black homosexual scholars to dig in on that. And I've dug in on it, but sometimes like in the days nowadays, you got to kind of ease through certain shit with the with certain communities, because I don't know if they're ready to have certain conversations. But they will also, there was this European thing that they had with children that, it was common practice to do some nasty shit with children in a lot of European cultures, you know what I'm saying? And it showed in a lot of the media. Like they would actually sexualize a lot of these children. And let's keep it moving, man. We're gonna do a whole show about the gender vagueness, and I ain't even gonna go through all this, because we had like 47 minutes, and we definitely ain't gonna go over the hour, and we're gonna make this a 2-part series, and because I actually gotta leave in a bit. I gotta see about my shoulder, and if I'm gonna have to do this crazy surgery or anything. So y'all also send some good vibes on that, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know how this gonna be. Like if I be in surgery, am I gonna be in bed, laid back, toe up, or am I gonna be able to still jug around, But either way, I'm gonna find a way to still stay connected on here. I'm gonna end this with scopophilia. We're just gonna talk about scopophilia, and we're gonna end this. Scopophilia. Laura Mulvey talks about scopophilia and how it plays a role in the viewing of film. I told you we're gonna dig deep. Scopophilia is the derision of erotic pleasure through looking. This means like porno, like you know what I'm saying, how people look at pornos and you get pleasure from it. But pornos are only one form of that. Porno is the extreme pleasure. Porno gonna give you the extreme, exactly what pleasure it is. Other forms of viewing, sometimes you don't exactly know what pleasure you're getting at the time, but it's just feeding you, like sort of how violence and like people like seeing people get killed on film, you know what I'm saying? Like, but we don't like seeing real people get killed on video. Like a lot of people get sick from seeing real people get killed on video, but they'll see the same scene reenacted on film, and there's a pleasure in it. Like, oh, like I can be a part of this without being real guilty. Like I really didn't be a part of it, but I did. I was a part of it, but I didn't have to kill nobody. Like I killed somebody without having to kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? I watched the porno. I had to fuck. I had sex with somebody, but I didn't have to get the STD, or I didn't, I really didn't cheat on my spouse. I just, wank one off or something, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but not even the wanking part, but just the visual part of it. Mulvey argues that the determining male gaze projects its fantasy onto the female figure, which is stylized accordingly. That basically means like how Hollywood portrays women. And, the women have always been sexual characters, and with black women, it was a whole different story. With black women, like we had like the sexual characters, but they were separated. With black women, it was more like the light-skinned women, or the mixed women, the mulatto women, that they would use them to sexualize. We still do it today. It's still in culture right now. I don't even want to pit like, oh fuck it, we talking. Can I talk with y'all? Can we talk? People are doing the Rihanna and the Lizzo comparison. We can talk about that. I will argue both images come from classic coon characters, you know what I'm saying? And it's not on them. It's not on them. It's not on them at all. It's not on them at all. Like they didn't grow up like, okay, I'm gonna be this coon character, you know what I'm saying? Like, what it is like popular media. They find people that fit certain characteristics of these characters that we talk about. Well, we didn't even talk about the Mammy character, and we talking about it now. About how they characterize the females. Like first you had the Mammy character. A lot of us know the Mammy character on Aunt Jemima, Miss Butterworth. If you go to Gone with the Wind, the lady on there, I feel so bad. She was like the first woman to win like an Oscar for us. Like, but it's like they would reward us for playing these messed up characters, and the Mammy character would usually be like a heavy set. They would use like a heavy set black woman, and it would be certain characteristics that she would carry. She would kind of be she would kind of be a little bit mean, a little bit more feisty than the other characters. She would really be mean against black men, you know what I'm saying? Like she would always be beefing with black men, cussing them out and all this. And she would always uplift white men, you know what I'm saying? And I'm sorry to say, like, that's a lot of like Lizzo's interviews and like stuff, like she's always uplifting white men and like all this. It just a lot of that stuff, a lot of her characters, like it fits those characteristics. And I'm not saying like she's doing that on purpose to fit that characteristics, but they found a big girl that likes white men and was beefing with a lot of local black celebrity, well, a lot of black celebrities and a lot of black philosophers and all that. And I'm sorry, but it fits that. And that's why like white media, they'll fund that and they'll push them through without the backlash that they're giving a person like a Lupe Fiasco who's trying to uplift the community, you know what I'm saying, in so many ways. Or why did I go to Lupe? I done went to a whole man and shit. Like, but that's the thing, they don't uplift the sisters, man. They don't uplift the sisters Oshun, like the two sisters Oshun. They wouldn't get uplifted like a Lizzo because they don't fit any other popular coon pop culture characters, They represent our African culture, our local culture, you know what I'm saying? But and with Rihanna, some would say she fits the what is it? It's like the Jezebel character, coon character, like the over sexualized light skinned girl. You know what I'm saying? Light skinned black girl. And she will fit into that character, you know what I'm saying? But that's not who she is. But you have to understand that the powers that be, they only gonna promote certain shit that fits certain characters, and she fits one of those characters, which is the light skinned sort of Jezebel, like, you know what I'm saying, the same stuff they would do it with old school. Y'all gotta forgive me, man. My I'm like forgetting names and everything, man. Like, but like Eartha Kitt, all that they would use they would try to use Eartha Kitt and all them like that. They would use them like that, over sexualizing everything they do. Like, no, like anything you do, I gotta see some titties, I gotta see some ass. You know what I'm saying? Dorothy Dandridge, you know what I'm saying? Like all them, like no, even though even though these women were so, you know what I'm saying, high esteem, so intelligent, so raw with it, you know what I'm saying? Like, in order for them to get on popular networks, you had to show some titties, you had to show some ass. You know what I'm saying? That's why we look at the stuff like Meek Mill's cover on his bus and stuff like that, and it's like, man, like we took the image now and like this over sexualized ass image, and we running with it, and it's a two-edged sword with it though, because you know our culture, we have a cultural aspect of us that we really don't give a fuck about that shit, because our original culture, we didn't over sexualize titties and asses and dicks hanging out. We didn't over sexualize. That was his fucking nature. Like, you see a fucking animal dick hanging out. You know what I'm saying? When it came time for sex, it was a whole different thing. But you know, we all know how people used to walk around naked and shit, and you know how popular nude beaches are. You know, people just want to let their nuts hang out. Like, there's a certain part of our culture that wants to be free like that. You know what I'm saying? So we have to keep that in consideration, like as far as with our media and how we portray ourselves. Like we want to be free to where, you know, we not sexualizing a woman having her titties out, you know what I'm saying, or a dude having a dick out until it's that time, you know, shit. When it's that time to rock out, shit, I'm rocking out with the gaga. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to be real, you know. But there's also the other side of it where, you know, Europeans have over sexualized us, and they've used it in this media capacity to degrade us into just that. You know, to where I love how Rihanna used it for herself. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we know she's Caribbean culture, shit. Titties gonna be out, ass is gonna be out in Caribbean culture. Yes, that's just what it is. What it is. It's gonna be some twerking. It's gonna be some ass shaking, and it's not no over sexualized shit. The motherfuckers just down partying shit, going down the street. That's most of our culture. Like the twerking and all that shit. That shit ain't fucking just all sexual. That's just a artistic expression from our people that we've had from ancient days. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, I feel like they used it. They used her, you know what I'm saying, for that, to, like, you know, for the sexual shit. But her being the raw motherfucker she is, she used that shit to motherfucking get rich. You know what I'm saying? To become one of the richest, you know what I'm saying? And I feel at this point she can do what she want to do, you know. But there's still another double-edged sword to that. Was it selling out? Like, me personally, I don't think it is, but like, it's a thin line. It's a very thin line between selling out, like, you know what I'm saying, using that for, you know, European culture, which is main culture, you know what I'm saying, like, as far as the people who own the media, you know what I'm saying, the main networks and all that. That's definitely, like, that's not our culture, you know what I'm saying. Our culture is probably more in social media, but even now, they shutting down our culture in social media. You know what I'm saying? Like, social media is basically controlling the image of us, you know, what we're portrayed as. And there's not enough people fighting back on that. That's why I say, man, savagecastle.org. Follow me on savagecastle.org, man. Get my website, bookmark it. You know, y'all can follow me on social media, but I think we kind of nearing the end of that era because people starting to realize that social media taking away our freedoms. It's really not, because we still got our freedoms if we just take it away and go, you know what I'm saying, just go out in the world and do what we got to do. But right now, social media has become a way of life, and they know that, and that's why they got to a point where, you know, it's pretty much been sold to the government, and now they controlling what you see, what you hear. They controlling who's allowed to put things out on there. You know, you can't even say certain stuff. You can't even say certain stuff about the pandemic and the jab, the cocoa, all that. Like, people literally got to use code words to get information out now, and it's horrible, man. They controlling the image, and right now the image is that, you know, like, black men don't even exist. Like, masculine ass, you know, black men don't exist in media. You know, where they do, they getting canceled, where they trying to cancel them. I don't have nothing against, like, you know, black gay men, but I think they're overrepresented in media to the point where, you know, any other type of black man is not represented, you know. And I think, you know, black gay men should be represented, you know. Like, I think the real world should be represented, but I think it's an agenda, because, you know, like, my wife loves to watch the shows on ABC, NBC, and all that. And one thing I've noticed, like, sitting there while I'm writing and all that, looking at all of these shows, there are no masculine black characters. You know what I'm saying? No masculine black characters. Like, every character is a gay black character. Like, you know, and it's like they do this diversity wheel, to where there's usually like a black woman. I mean, they're usually like a white woman, and she usually probably heavy set and probably, you know what I'm saying, she's probably gay. Then you have like a Chinese guy or woman, they're probably usually gay. Then you usually probably have like a straight white woman, probably a straight white man or gay white man. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's almost like the Captain Planeteers on like every show. But when it comes like to the black man, it's always a gay black man. Like, if it's a straight black man or a masculine black man, they're always the enemy. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's right. But I think that's where I say where we need scholars within the LBGQ community. Like, I don't even mean to offend, like, because I really know it's a different term for it now. Like, it's like LBGQT. Like, I ain't even making fun. Like, I like, you know, I talk fast and I'll slur with it, but y'all know who I'm talking about. But I think we need scholars within that community to study media to that point where, you know, they're being used as coon characters. Like I would say, I hope I'm not out of hand, but I know I'm not out of hand, because I know I see it myself. Like, they're being used as like the new coon character, and the masculine black man is also he's being used as the classic villain. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's usually a clash between them, between like the straight man and the gay black man. You know what I'm saying? Where that's not always reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of communities working with each other, but it's like the black community is being exited out of mainstream media. You know what I'm saying? It's like the black community don't even exist unless it's this certain portion. You know what I'm saying? And we can go back to like slavery, like to where I'll give my opinion. As a matter of fact, we're gonna make that the next show. I don't bag out of shit. You know what I'm saying? I would love to have like somebody from the LGBTQ community on there. Like, please reach out to me if you want to be on the show as a guest, and let's just kind of discuss that. You know what I'm saying? Are gay people being used as the new coon character in all of our new shows, all the media right now? You know what I'm saying? Is that like the main is that the main coon character right now? The extra extravagant, you know what I'm saying, gay guy, you know what I'm saying? Or well, actually, like, I've been taking notes. I see. Now we gonna discuss it, but I'm gonna just give a short breakdown. Right now, on most of the shows, I see the mean gay guy, and I see the extra extravagant gay guy that's just super extra extravagant. It's like it's not even realistic. Like they just so much out there. And I know some gay guys that are like, you know, flamboyant, but they be taking flamboyance to the whole nother extreme on these TV shows. And to me, it just reminds me of the coon characters with like the black characters, the gangsters back in the 90s and shit. You know what I'm saying? The extra gangster characters in the 90s. And in the 70s, the blaxploitation films, the pimps and all that, to where it was just extra. Like, and if you look at all of them and you just catch it up, it's just certain things to look at and catch. Man, we got to talk about that. But with that, you know, I'm leaving with that, man, because we've been on here just discussing. But y'all know this is my field right here. You know, film history and all that. So that's why we kind of digging in. We only like literally when I was going through my notes, we literally only went like through the first 3 pages of my book. That's all the stuff in the first 3 pages of the book. Like, so yeah, like when I release it, like I'm adding a lot of stuff to it. But when I release it, y'all better get a copy, man. I'm telling you, that book probably gonna get me in trouble. But that's why I want these discussions so I can add more to it, because that's really what I touched it on a little bit in there, but I didn't really touch the gay community, because that's a reality that we have a big portion in our community that are in that lifestyle. But like it's like I always say the LBGQ is like the white community for real, and they tend to do the black community dirty a lot. You know what I'm saying? Especially those within that lifestyle within our community. That's why I wanted to build. We need to build with our own. We need to get off all that bullshit, hating each other because of some old religious shit from 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, and we need to like have these real discussions. Oh, we will never have those discussions. We never gonna move forward on that shit, you know. So we need to discuss this coon character. Like it is this new super extravagant gay character on TV now that all of them are the same character. That's the thing that triggered me to start looking at them characters like, damn, all these characters are the same exact character. That doesn't seem right. Like, where are the writers? You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of gay people and none of them are the same. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, none of them are like the TV gays. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, none of them are just exactly the same with the exact same movements, exact same phrases. Like, no. And some of them not even, you won't even know they're gay until they tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just some of them, you know, some of them dress up, you know what I'm saying? They do what they do, but it's like it's so much variety in them, just like with black characters. Like you only had gangster, just like with regular black characters, you only had the gangster or the beaten father, some shit like that. Like and like, damn, it's so many other characters to explore. Why do they have to always be these like the over sexualized gay guy too? That was the third one that I've been peeping. Let's do a study on it. Let's do a study. Like we all know the over sexualized gay character on the TV shows that always make the bachelor guy on there a little uncomfortable. We all seen that scene in every damn show on damn TV right now. Like, oh, talking to the girl, ooh, who's that hot piece of meat? All that, you know what I'm saying? Like let's explore these characters, man. Like, it might not be the next one, because I think I want to reach out to somebody, have a guest with that. So we talking about that, and I'm putting it in the book. So let's go. With that, I got to say what up, what up, what up. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. We might be on here a little later. I don't know. I gotta go to the doctor in a little bit. Y'all see me in the sling. You know what I'm saying? I got to go get my shoulder checked on. I got some stuff tore up in here, and we about to see what's the next step. And hopefully I'll be able to sit up and stand the same way. If not, y'all, I'm gonna be laid back on the bed, still talking to y'all and chopping it up with the guests. So I love y'all, man. Peace to all people, man. I am black first, you know what I'm saying? But like the Panthers of the old days, you know, I say power to black people, power to brown people, power to white people, power to, you know, yellow, pink, orange, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Power to all people within a right, man. And power to all people don't mean you got to step on somebody else to get that power. With that, spread love, y'all.